Hey guys, my name is Batimio, and as of yesterday, DICE has made some changes to the Gunship with a server-side patch, and I wanted to make this video first of all to inform you about these changes if you're not aware of them, so you have a better understanding of how the Gunship is going to perform in Battlefield 3. But really the main bulk of today's video is to talk about why I honestly feel like even with these changes, the Gunship has no business being in the Rush game mode. So the first thing DICE has done is that stationary and mobile AA guns are going to do 30% less damage against the AC-130, and I do like this change. I remember there were some times when I would jump into a Conquest match in the Gunship and I would just get destroyed by an AA gun from across the map. There really wasn't anything you could do, and they did feel a little bit too powerful against the Gunship. So I do like this change. They're also going to be reducing the jet cannon damage against the ship as well by 50%. The rationale behind it is that jets have been able to single strafe a gunship and destroy it, and this is going to have require a little bit more skill by the pilot to take them out, and you just can't do it in one strafe. So another change is the delay before moving the gunship forward to a new base in the Rush game mode has been increased from 15 to 30 seconds, and I honestly think that this was necessary. Before the patch, when the offensive team took both of the MCOM stations and the defenders were spawning back at their deployment, they really didn't have enough time to set up, try to get into a defensive position where they could hopefully defend the MCOM stations and take out the AC-130. It really just resulted before the patch with the gunship spawning overhead, shooting everyone down at the ground, and resulting in a quick turnaround to the next MCOMs as well. Another tweak is that the delay between the gunship spawns has been increased from 90 to 120 seconds on Rush, and once again, a very nice change. Before this, pretty much once you took out the AC-130, it felt like it was almost instantly back up in the air, and you really didn't feel like you had a lot of breathing room. And after playing a couple of rounds of Rush since the patch, I would have to say that this is a nice change. It gives you a little bit more time to hopefully clear out anyone that got into your base and establish a better defensive position so that you can hopefully bleed some tickets on the enemy. And finally, the initial delay before the gunship spawns on Rush has been increased from 15 to 60 seconds, once again giving the defenders a little bit more time to establish a defensive position and hopefully not just die right when the game starts, which was occurring before this patch. Overall, I do like the recent patch notes for the AC-130. I think it is going to balance things out a bit, especially on the Conquest game mode. But once again, I still feel like it has absolutely no business being on Rush. I had the opportunity to play a bunch of Rush games on both offense and defense, and what I came to the conclusion I came to was that it's still extremely overpowered and just sways the battle way into your favor, and it just makes it extremely frustrating to play on defense when you have some good gunners in the gunship just raining death down upon you. And so now I'm going to kind of go into the reasons why I just do not think it needs to be in Rush. So my first reason is that there just really isn't a lot of spawn locations for the defending team, and at first glance you really wouldn't think that this would be an issue, but as long as you have two adequate gunners in the AC-130, what's going to happen is that they're going to start to clear everyone out on the ground, people are going to die, be on their spawn screen, and then start to spawn back at their deployment like normal. And because there really isn't a lot of spawn locations, what happens is that large clumps of people start to group up, and it becomes open season for the gunners, and they can literally suppress everyone back, not everyone, but they can suppress a large amount of people back at their spawn where they literally cannot do anything. They don't have enough time to lock onto the AC-130 to hopefully take it out. They just spawn, walk a couple of feet, and then get blasted by a huge canister shell. And this really doesn't happen on Conquest, because if you do get taken out by the AC-130, you can spawn on a completely different location. The gunners are not going to know where you are, and you can go on your merry way, or you can try to take it out and help your team out. So it just doesn't seem to be as large of an issue on Conquest, but a huge problem on Rush. My next reason is that it is extremely difficult for the defending team to disarm an MCOM with a gunship up in the sky. Really, all the gunners have to do in that situation is pummel the ground around the MCOM, and anyone that tries to disarm it is going to be met with a very swift and explosive death. And let's say, for example, that the defending team does get smart. They try to take out the AC-130 because they know that's the only way that they're going to be able to get over to the MCOM and disarm it. Well, by the time that they either switch to the engineer class or they get enough stingers up in the air to take it out, by that time the MCOM has been taken and the AC-130 has served its purpose. It delayed the enemy team long enough so that their team could take out the MCOM, which is exactly what they're trying to do. And really, I cannot think of any other vehicle out there that makes it that difficult for the defending team to disarm an MCOM. I mean, sure, you could make the argument that a tank has that same potential, but in my opinion, tanks require a lot more skill. You have to get closer to the objective. You don't have an aerial view over it, and it's just going to be a lot easier for, in my opinion, for defenders to take out a tank compared to an AC-130, at least in time to get over to the MCOM and disarm it. My third reason is that it serves as a huge distraction, and it really sucks the resources and time away from the defending team, which could have been used for taking out infantry units or tanks that are moving up towards the objective, but now everyone is looking up at the sky trying to take out, the huge bird. And when that happens, the offensive team gets a huge breathing room where they can regroup or they can just keep pushing forward, and because everyone's looking up at the sky, they're going to get a lot of easy kills. I cannot tell you how many times I am trying to take out the AC-130 with my Stinger. I'm looking up, and right when I lock, I get shot by, a sniper, or I get taken out by a full squad moving up towards the objective. But because I'm just so distracted by this nuisance, the enemy team is just able to push up and take out the MCOMs. So you wouldn't think that just having a distraction would be that large of an issue, but it really is when your entire team is focused on trying to either take it out or they're just getting killed by it. And finally, my final point, if you are playing Rush on the new Armored Kill maps, it is almost impossible to establish a front line, much like you can on the vanilla or the Strike at Karkin Rush maps. If you do play on the original maps, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You pretty much have to fight through the defending team to get to the MCOM stations. You do want to flank whenever you can, but that does require some skill. It does require you to be a little sneaky, using, a silencer weapon to get behind enemy lines. But that really doesn't apply now for the Armored Kill maps. All you really have to do is jump into the AC-130, parachute down, and now all of a sudden you're in their spawn points, you're wreaking havoc behind enemy lines, and really it just allows the people that are pushing forward to meet a lot less resistance and get onto that MCOM. And just the fact that there is the parachute ability for the gunship really just swings the favor into the offensive team's position. Not being able to establish a front line is huge on Rush, and I honestly feel like that is one of the main aspects of the game mode. And when you get rid of that, it completely changes the dynamic of the fights, and in my opinion is worst off for the game mode in general. But those are my reasons why I think that the gunship has no place on the Rush game mode, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you guys like it on Rush? Do you dislike it? Let me know your reasons down below in the comment section. But if you guys enjoyed this video or just want to support my channel, I always appreciate it when you give my videos a rating, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.